less than 2,000.
The podcast.
Touched for the very first time like a virgin.
Oh my God, I can't believe you're actually singing that song. Out of all 80s Madonna, you're singing this. I gotta be honest, I gotta admit something. I knew I was really gonna have to work hard at today's episode because I swear to God, I only knew a handful of things. I knew Like a Virgin, and I knew that Madonna was Britney Spears' idol. Everything else, I was like, I got to dig into this and go down the watering hole. But then as I'm going through, I'm going, dude, that song.
Yeah.
She's incredible. Like, maybe because I wasn't like the biggest Madonna fan. Mm-hmm. But until you start really recounting her entire life, you forget how influential and absolutely incredible Madonna is. Period.
The only thing I heard there is you said going down the watering hole. So not the going down the rabbit hole, going down the water hole or whatever.
So that's your takeaway out of everything I
had to point that out because the audience will notice. So but I completely agree. I know Madonna and I know her stuff, but it is incredible when you start digging into it. The name Queen of Pop couldn't have been more accurate. She is the undisputed Queen of Pop. There's Michael Jackson's the King of Pop, Madonna Queen of Pop. No, hands down, she is the all-time greatest.
Period. And I mean, what's crazy is, not only the lasting effect that she's had on music and entertainment in general, but also the fact that she got to stay completely in charge of every single aspect of her career. Not many artists can say that because everybody's handlers and studios and reps and everybody's. She got to control the videos, the music, the lyrics, everything. And that's why she deserves to be known forever as the Queen of Pop.
Absolutely. Very well said. Here's the thing. They've tried to recreate something like Madonna a million times. The reason it can't be done to the same level of success is she's the genuine article, and it came naturally from her. Nowadays, everything's like by committee, everything is like, do this, do that, wear this, wear that, don't sing that, everybody's got the studio, everybody's got their finger in the pie.
It's literally all manufactured by the machine.
And she was legit. She was that was just like kind of a once in a generation. Forget once in a generation or once in a lifetime. Once in the history of the world will we get something like Madonna.
Now, let me ask you this though. Okay, so you bring up a good point though. The birth of MTV is right around the time that she comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, since today is literally just about 80's Madonna, and we're gonna talk about that.
Yes.
The list of videos that go on and on and on, from Like a Virgin, Like a Prayer, Holiday, Live to Tell, Everybody. You just keep going down the list and the list of these videos. Is she as successful if she doesn't have her face and her image plastered on TV all the time, all day long?
She came out at the perfect time for that, because it's not like she got started right the same year that MTV started. She had her career going a couple, 2-3 years before MTV hit the fan, and it was obviously that bolted her into the stratosphere, being on MTV. Sure. Right place, right time in that sense. But it was just like the confluence of just perfection for her. She already had the image. She already had the sound. And then she was ready when the time MTV came out. She was just bam, she's there. She's like spearheading the way with her very unique way. And she, as the queen of controversy, that I think is a really big key to all of this. Sure. Is that everything she did that got people worked up only made her bigger.
What's so funny is you look at these videos today and you go like, there was a lot of sex appeal in it. Nobody can deny that.
Yeah. But
by today's standards, really?
Right. That's what the show is partially about, is putting things in its cultural context. By today's standard, they're passé, but she was the innovator. Somebody's always got to push that envelope. She is an absolute, I know I use this word a lot, but it's very apt in this situation especially. She is an icon. She's an icon of the 80s, the 90s, and has continued her career and has inspired so many female acts, musical acts.
I mean,
it's uncountable.
Anybody who cares about not only the history of music, but the showmanship of music.
Oh yeah.
The style of music, the entertainment value of music. Anybody who is moved by any of that, if you don't take cues from Madonna, you're an idiot, and you're probably not going to last very long. Let's just say that. I mean, yes, I know everything. There needs to be innovation. There needs to be new things. But you have to know the past before you can go into the future. And there is nobody to look towards other than Madonna that would be bigger than Madonna.
Well, and to prove that, I got some stats for you. She sold over 300 million albums worldwide. She's the best.
300 million?
300 million. She has made over 1.4 billion on her concert tickets and is the highest grossing solo touring artist of all time. Not female, solo artist.
That's crazy.
So, she's obviously in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's the most successful artist on the Billboard Top 100. Again, not saying female. Most successful artist in the Billboard Top 100.
Wow. When you think of artists being really successful, and there's a lot of them, but it's incredible that Madonna made it not only to the stature that she did, but then has shattered all of those records and has held that, and it's never dropped for decades. I mean, 40 years she's been doing this.
Yes. And then let's get into let's go through the time capsule. Let's go through her career a little bit.
Nice transition.
Well, yeah, she started in a band called the Breakfast Club. She was part of first of all, she is an accomplished musician herself. She plays guitar, she plays piano. She was like classically trained. So she's a legit musician herself. She was in the Breakfast Club, and then she came out with her debut single, Everybody, in 1982, and then Burning Up in March of 83. And then I gotta do the right tone for this. And then her debut album, titled simply Madonna, came out in 1983. I tried to do the Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, and then I realized, it was a very good Patrick Bateman, and then I ruined it by going, And then I realized I'm glad we're recording in two separate booths, because that should in no way be my response to Madonna.
So that one had Holiday on it, Borderline, and Lucky Star. And so let's just start there. Borderline's great. Borderline's one of those songs that I like the very beginning of, because it's got that do 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 do. I love that part
80's.
Of the song. The rest 80's. Of it, it's fine.
So do you just listen to the beginning, do do, and then just you're out? I mean, you're like, yeah, man, that was great.
Kind
and
of.
You switch songs.
Yeah, kind of. Lucky Star was another big one on that, and Holiday, of course. That was not her biggest one, of course, but I mean, it was a hell of a debut. There's three,
Absolutely.
Massive top 100 singles right there.
I mean, most people's albums go up. I mean, if you have a legacy, your albums do better and better. I mean, to a plateau, but that's a huge launching pad.
Then her second album, titled Like a Virgin, came out in 1984. It became her first #1 album and certified diamond. 21 million copies. That's as many as MC Hammer. You can't touch this, or please Hammer, don't hurt him.
So wait a minute. So they share a title.
20 million.
Record.
21 million for her second album in 1984, bro.
Wow.
And okay, it can't be understated, overstated how important Like a Virgin was. The song. And specifically her performance in the 1984 VMA Video Awards, the MTV Music Video Awards. This is the one where she dresses up like a bride. She's in a bridal gown and is dancing all over the stage, rolling around, kind of humping the ground. She's got like the 80s like fingerless gloves on, and
just really enraging Midwestern moms.
Oh God. If you haven't seen it, in a while, or if you haven't seen it because you're younger, you need to go out of your way to look up this performance because it was so groundbreaking, just so shocking to everyone. And she there's her completely breaking through so many taboos and just totally put her on the map. And everybody got so mad at her, and family values groups were after her. That only made her bigger.
Didn't she come from Catholicism or something like that? Like, so and a lot of people knew that. So she was still claiming, churchhood. Yeah. And then comes out with Like a Virgin.
MTV calls it the most iconic live performance of all time. Kind of hard to dispute that. And obviously the negative publicity was just more positive. I mean, and now keep in mind, 1984, not that many people had cable yet. It was not in everybody's home.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all remember Eddie Murphy saying to the audience, "Y'all got cable?" I mean, that's how new it was back then.
Yeah. Well, I think that was 1982 or 84, Delirious.
Okay, all right. So a little off, but yeah.
But yeah, y'all have cable? But it was like...
Cable was
new.
A weird
thing. Like,
remember this. I mean, most of our fans are going to know and remember the birth of cable. But for anybody who's just a little bit younger than that, there was a time where there was nothing called cable.
Well, and my point was not that many people saw the actual performance the first time because cable was probably in a fraction of American households.
Sure.
But because it became so controversial and so many people talked about it, clips of it were all over like normal TV, over the air, rabbit ears TV. So even if you didn't actually see the performance,
don't forget pictures in the newspaper back when people would hold the newspaper and read it in the morning.
Right. So that one also had Material Girl on it, where that video was like kind of paying homage to Marilyn Monroe and
sure.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, 1953 film. So that is what made her. Like a Virgin.
By the way, I love how the video has all of like the old school like tuxes with the men with the slick back, and it's just like dozens of dudes and then her in that video. Material.
Yeah. Well, it was empowering. You couldn't do that on TV. You couldn't do that in real life. She was a groundbreaker, and she started dating Sean Penn. Okay, so then she starts acting. 1985, Desperately Seeking Susan. And then she also she was the title character on Desperately. She was Susan, and I haven't seen it, but that's where Into the Groove came from. That is one of her bigger hits. From? Yeah, Into the Groove. Get into the groove, boy. Into the groove, boy. Set me free. I'm just going to ruin so many Madonna songs for people.
Yeah, for anybody who is, listen, I was actually bobbing my head to you singing. Even though you were absolutely butchering it,
yeah,
I was still bobbing my head.
Season 2, we're going to start doing video casts, everybody. So look forward to that in 2021.
Because I'll be so excited to see that I had bobbed my head to your singing. That'll mean something to people.
This one's really interesting to me. On her tour in 1985, the Beastie Boys were her opening act.
That's right.
Isn't that crazy?
That is awesome. And they were just like, they were like, a couple, 3 dudes from the street or whatever were like, Madonna, are you serious? Like, that was huge for them.
Talk about contrast too. And they're like frat boy kind of, especially in the 80s, they're frat boy like party music. Then 1986, True Blue came out. And, True Blue was a big hit for her. Live to Tell, Papa Don't Preach, we're on that. It sold 25 million copies, and it has one of my favorite Madonna songs on it, Open Your Heart. Open your heart to me, baby. I hold the lock if you hold the key. Open your heart to me. You should see his voice. He's cracking up. I think the part I like.
You had me for the first couple lines, and then all of a sudden I had to stop bobbing my head and go, "What the f*** is happening right now?"
I've always wondered what that song starts with, like chicka chicka, do 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 do. Love that song.
Love 80s music for the simplest. There is no decade in the history of music, I don't think, that has a more iconic, the first couple of tones to songs in the 80s, and you're going to go, that was the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's cool. The 80s just had that distinct sound. It changed. Music changed from the decades and decades and decades before that.
Well, a lot of drum machines, tons of synthesizers. I mean, so many synthesizers. And to your point, a lot of her background music, the music is it could be a Michael Jackson song. Mm-hmm. And it could be all that has that very samey, like the synthetic bass, everything's a
samey
keyboard, and it just sounds very samey. And I'll tell you what, when I was growing up and I was a little boy in the 80s, I thought basically every female song out there was a Madonna song. I thought, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Let's Hear It for the Boy. All those songs, I just thought they were Madonna songs because A, they all sound the same, and B, she was so big, you just think you hear that and you're like, dang, I mean, she's it.
And Madonna was so popular that it's not that you couldn't tell the difference. You were 6 to 8 years old, but Madonna was so huge. It was like, who else was there to talk about? You weren't really talking about very many other artists at that age.
No. And I want to go back for a second and talk about Material Girl, the song, not just the video, because that's one of my other favorite Madonna songs, Material Girl. Now, I, for years and years and years, thought it was like she was glamorizing that and was like, she really was materialistic, and that's like the key to her heart. Now, going back and listening to it, I think, even though she's probably a billionaire, I think the message to that was kind of a parody. It was parodying the consumerism and the yuppiness of the 80s.
Totally. And this is what drives me banana sandwich about, parents and the thing that gets so misrepresented about art is a lot of stuff, even though they're saying one thing, it's to contrast a different meaning, or to show that this isn't okay, or a parody on something else, or to have a deeper meaning. And then everybody just takes like the headline, like, woman likes money. And it's like, that has nothing to do with it, and it drives me nuts. And that's what everybody talks about. And we talk about the controversies surrounding Madonna in the 80s. If people are offended, stop paying attention to it. If you stop talking about it, it wouldn't have reached the success that it had. But the fact that everybody wanted to go out, blasphemy, this woman is wrong, it blew her up. But most of that was misrepresented anyway, because it wasn't the meaning that she was bringing to the music, to the art.
You're absolutely right, and that's a great transition to 1989. She got an endorsement deal with Pepsi, and in that commercial, Like a Prayer was debuted in a Pepsi commercial. Well, the video to that had Catholic symbols, stigmata, cross burning, and all that did was make it way bigger. Yeah, she lost the Pepsi endorsement deal because they couldn't be associated with something like that. But all that did was make her so much bigger. And so if you don't like it, stop talking about it. Don't pick it. Don't boycott. Don't draw attention to it.
Don't write whole articles and mass distribute it to like everybody's home to read about the very thing that you're shaming. Like you're a part of the problem when you do that.
So I was wondering, I was thinking like, who wrote these songs? Who was the person that actually wrote the music behind it and all of this stuff? And when I dug into it, Madonna is a writer on every single one of her significant songs perfectly. Yes, she has co-writers, and a lot of them are the same, and a lot of them rotate. But she wrote her own stuff because she is a musician. She is a lyricist. She is the master of her own image, as you made an earlier point. And she's the writer.
That's so refreshing. That's so. I mean, I hate to keep using that word, but like. I mean, that's incredible. Yeah. I mean, to write that much of your own stuff, to be in that much of control of every piece of your art and craft. Most famous artists could only dream of having a situation like that. And she was so damn good at writing, performing, singing, and putting the package together that nobody could tell her what to do. However, women, ladies, tell us how you feel about
Yes.
how did Madonna make you feel? You know, write us and tell us what she meant to you. What did that bring to your childhood? What takeaway, what women empowerment, what feelings did that bring you? Because ultimately, art speaks differently to every person, not even just gender, not even just societal status, but to each individual person. Art can play a very specific role in influencing you personally. And I'd love to hear that.
Dude, I'm so glad you got your smart point in. Excellent. I'll just say, just to add to that, don't let us mansplain to you what Madonna means. You tell us what it means to you. Tell us what you think she was saying in her songs. And also, we will do another episode on Madonna. We will do a 90s Madonna episode sometime. Chad, after doing this, actually putting this on its feet, I really think we need to do a guest episode for the next Madonna one.
Yeah, the 90s Madonna is going to be us and a female guest.
Yes.
Hands down, period. That's going to be the case.
We are taking applications, so go ahead and hit us up and let us know if you would like to appear on the show and tell us what's up with Madonna.